I would like to ask Kasturi talk about her film, because the thing is, we are in Karnataka, which is in a way, it's one of the what in BJP's own words, it's a door of South India. It is. So again, twice BJP won here. It is not just vote; it actually snatched and poached from the other parties and form a government. Whether it is the first Yediyurappa government or next Yediyurappa government and now the Basavaraj government. So this film actually tells many things to us as well. How the Bengalis resisted it, but as it is, it's a small mercies again. We don't know what happens tomorrow. I would like to ask Kasturi tell about her experience of the shooting this and then what is happening now. Because the pandemic gave a big break to NRC protests and it changed many things on the ground, and how she looks at the present situation in Bengal.
So, experience of shooting wise, when we started shooting we started filming in 2018 and 19. That was the time when we were filming extensively. At that point of time, we just wanted to see basically me and my partner who's made this film, we have never been involved in electoral politics, campaigns or anything of that sort. We have always been part of people's protests and that sort of thing. So we usually never had the idea of shooting an election like that. But there was a significant change that was happening in Bengal from 2017 or maybe 16 onwards. That change was quite perceptible. It was not only of a party suddenly gaining strength, a party which previously had less than 10% of vote share, close to some 6-7% of vote share actually. So they were like, we used to laugh at them really, like we used to really laugh about it that okay, so we are very far, we used to be very proud like okay, we are so far away from this cow belt, they used to say it very derogatively, that we are safe, nobody's going to touch us, at least we don't have this thing here. So yeah, so Bengalis being very proud of their history and all, so they were very, they were happily there. But then suddenly, 2016 onwards, when these very small scale riots began to happen, like you saw the Asansol riots. There was a riot near the jute belt, industrial belt in Halishahar, Noihati. The people who are following Bengal, small scale engineered riots. And suddenly you see that things are changing in the public. For example, to give an example, previously nobody would dare to say communal things in public. When they're traveling on a bus or a train, to say communal stuff openly was considered not acceptable. If somebody wanted to say that, they would whisper it or they will say it behind closed doors. But we saw that changing. We saw that, no, this is not the normal way of things. Things have gone very deep. So people are commonly saying things, such things you saw being said in a brigade rally was unthinkable. Like you can obviously attack your political opponents, but to say such communal things, provocative things, that started happening. So we sort of decided that let us document one election process. And we just chose one constituency which was like, it was important because it was a very mixed demographic and it was also all the right-wing headquarters are in that constituency. So we did that documentation. Even then we didn't know that it will become a film. But strange things happened, like all those Amit Shah rallies and everything, very high, high-pitched campaign, etc. And then suddenly this 22% vote share increase in one jump. That's a huge, 22%. That doesn't happen just like that. So we also saw firsthand the amount of money that was really driving everything. Like everything was event managed, stage managed, and bloated up with money poured in. So we became very frustrated at the end of the first phase of shooting. You can see our frustrated faces on the day of counting. We are like looking like, what happened? Why are we here? Why are we shooting here like that? This doesn't look like my city at all. That mode. So we were all very depressed, to be very honest, very depressed. After that, suddenly this NRC thing, they started to pump it up. They started to do the NRCCA pumping up. Now, I don't know why the rest of India took a long time to respond to that. In the beginning, when it was the Assam NRC, I think there was no response in the rest of India. There was absolutely nothing. So people were just, but there was response in Bengal. The reason for that was Bengal being the partition state, apart from Punjab. So the Assam thing really hit us because half of the people of Bengal are refugees. Like in every family, you'll have half of them who have come from Bangladesh, most of them Hindus. So they thought that if this can happen in Assam, 1.9 million people dropped, out of them 70% Hindus. Okay, so then we are also going to get the same thing. So then it hit home, not in a theoretical or ideological way, but in a way of survival, whether we will survive this NRC thing. And BJP was at that point of time, they were drumming it up like every day, like we'll do it, we'll karke hi rahenge, like this. So it backfired very badly on them, I would say. In Bengal, it really backfired. So everybody who is like apolitical, never goes to anything, Hindu, Muslim, whoever, they all became very anti-NRC. And the anti-NRC movement in the beginning was not done by TMC or any political party. It was a citizens thing. Then people started burning trains. They were so agitated, like they were doing things on their own. Then the government also realized that, this is the public mood, like TMC always does. They're very good at gauging the public mood, and then they said, okay, this can be of use to us. So they also sort of tried to capture that, okay, this is our narrative, we are also going to be anti-NRC. So, and then the anti-CA thing happened, Shaheen Bagh, etc., the entire India, and this thing in Bengal also amplified. So we started documenting everything at that point of time. And then this idea of the film came, that okay, so this process is not so depressing, there is some ray of hope, something is churning, and it is churning quite massively. So yeah, so then we kept on keeping some records of what was happening around that citizenship protests. And I still think, if you ask me, the reason for BJP's bad drubbing in 2021, a big reason for that was the anti-CA, anti-NRC thing. People really feared for their citizenship status. So, and other factors were obviously there. And then this election came, so yeah, of course we sort of followed. But this time we didn't follow it as just witness, just some people observing. So we were not observers. In the third part of the film, we were also part of this campaign. So we are doing campaign as well as shooting. So then of course then this thing happened. But yeah, when you ask about the present is very bleak actually. So we have managed to resist them one election, but that is nothing. Because first of all, the TNC, if you ask me, they're not an ideological party. They don't have any ideology. The only ideology is just holding to power. So there is nothing which is counter to the RSS. In fact, this is the biggest problem in India, that no party, not even the Congress, nobody has a counter to the RSS. They have a counter to the BJP, but they don't have a counter to the RSS, which is the mastermind, which has an ideological plan. They are going to complete 100 years in 2025, and they, like this corridor, this Kashi corridor film, that is the grand vision that the RSS has. Which other party has that? So TMC is like an ant, not even an ant. It's just like, okay, people voted them because they wanted to give a no to the BJP mostly. Also, some people obviously gave yes to them because of welfare policies, etc. But apart from that, a non-ideological party cannot resist forever. and they will maybe relent unless and until they get thrown out from the center. That is my sort of initial comments. Sorry for the long comment.
Thank you very much, Kasturi. So I go to Dakshina, sir, because you have seen Karnataka politics closely, because you know how the BJP has grown in Karnataka, and with the Janata Party it has grown, with Janata Dal it has grown, and you know with Janata Dal yes it has grown, and with Janata Dal U it has grown, and it came to power as well. So there's a different story here in Karnataka. In compared to, you know, this has not been recorded as documentary or something, or even good papers as well on this. So compared to this, how do you look at Bengal's present developments? Because as Kasturi says that the Trinamool is not a party which can resist long to BJP, and it is also the case on how the Congress has resisted BJP at the center also we have seen, and how the Congress is resisting in Karnataka is also we have seen. So I look for your response with this background.
Yeah, I mean, of course, Karnataka is absolutely different, no comparison to Bengal. And like in India, each state has its own history. Yeah, in Karnataka, the RSS has always been strong. It's always, and in fact, among the top leadership of the RSS, you always have somebody or other from Karnataka. So, but that being the case, it still did not translate into any electoral victory for the BJP for long. In fact, I've done some assessments on the rise of the BJP in Karnataka, and according to me, there are two individuals who are responsible for the rise of the BJP in Karnataka. Okay, one is Ramakrishna Hegde, and second is Devegowda. Now, it's you may ask this question, how this is so? Because if you look at the, say, for example, if you start with 1983, that's when the BJP first came to power. Not came to power, it won elections, and it was part of a coalition. And I think the BJP won 17 seats.
First
right?
time.
The first time. Okay, so it was also as part of this non-Congress or anti-Congress kind of there was an anti-Congress wave in 83. That's how the Janata Party came to power, and then you had this coalition. But Ramakrishna Hegde, the Janata Party, very effectively managed to consolidate power and managed to emerge as an alternative to the Congress. And in the process, the BJP got marginalized. Okay, so if you look at the percentage of vote and everything else, from 83 onwards, the BJP receded. It didn't have that kind of a clout. So it effectively became a two-party system in which the Congress and the Janata Dal, they became, or the Janata Party, which later became the Janata Dal, they became the main two parties. So where was the BJP at this point in time? It was very down, and in 89, it slowly started picking up in tandem with the Ayodhya movement, which happened all over the country. So it had some kind of a resonance in Karnataka, but it really did not, pay that kind of a quick dividends. It was not an overnight change. So effectively, so then you had, for quite some time until 94. In 94 again, the fight was always between the Congress and the Janata Dal. The BJP was the third force. It was waiting for an opportunity, and that opportunity came in 96. In 94, the Janata Dal came to power. Then in 96, if you recall, Devegowda became Prime Minister, and it caused issues in Karnataka. And then one of the first things that Devegowda did, because there was always a personal rivalry between Gowda and Hegde, Gowda expelled Hegde from the party, from the Janata Dal, right? Because Hegde made some statements when he became Prime Minister, when Gowda became Prime Minister. He couldn't handle it personally because he always thought he was the Prime Ministerial candidate. So very, very pure personal, kind of a feud between these two. And when Gowda expelled Hegde, so a part of the Janata Dal got split. And this was the real important moment. Okay, so when Hegde and his group became the Janata Dal U, there was this Rashtriya Navnirman Vedike, and then that became the Janata Dal U. And then Gowda became Janata Dal S. In the elections that followed, okay, in 99, Ramakrishna Hegde allied with the BJP. Okay, so and then when the results came, it was the BJP that benefited. Because what happened is, Ramakrishna Hegde, the Janata Dal U, by aligning with the BJP, he managed to transfer his vote base to the BJP. And you can see that in the results that came, in terms of the number of seats, and plus in terms, I can't recall the exact percentages, but if you look at the percentage, it really went up. And so this is the reason why I say that Hegde played a big role, because he transferred the votes to BJP. Not only that, the Janata Dal, which was always a kind of a counter to the Congress, it got weakened by the split between Hegde and Gowda, and the party also split, and one section went to the BJP. And so post 99, the Janata Dal U, for all practical purposes, was swallowed by the BJP. And the votes in North Karnataka, the Lingayat vote went to the BJP. That's because Hegde had a huge following in North Karnataka, and he had a big following amongst the Lingayats. So that vote got shifted to the BJP. That's until today. That's how they managed to hold on to that vote, right? So this happened in '99. Then, if you look, if you fast forward it again to the next, so the next important moment for the BJP, and please remember, from then on, from this time onwards, the BJP vote share kept on increasing, the number of seats also kept on increasing. So if you come to then 2004, then 99 to 2004, there was a kind of a stable government. S.M. Krishna came to power, Congress was in power. In 2004, again there was a hung assembly, if you recall, and then you had the Janata Dal and the Congress in alliance. And, at this point, Kumaraswamy wanted to become the chief minister. He was not happy with being a deputy chief minister. If you recall, he was not even a deputy chief minister. Siddaramaiah, I think, was a deputy chief minister, and Dharam Singh was the chief minister. So there was some kind of a deal between Yediyurappa and Kumaraswamy. And overnight, one fine day in 2006, he shifted his support to the BJP. So now the point here is, it was Kumaraswamy who did that. Now, why do I, say Gowda was also responsible along with Hegde? The reason is, at the end of the day, it was Janata Dal was still under the control of Mr. Gowda, and he did not openly oppose what Kumaraswamy did. He kept quiet. They probably, people say, and also some associates, people I know, that within the family there was some kind of tension because of this, because Gowda was probably not very happy with this. But politically and openly he did not oppose what Kumaraswamy did. So the BJP came back to power with Kumaraswamy, and they formed a coalition. The Congress was out. So this was the next big opportunity that the BJP got, and Yediyurappa was the deputy chief minister, if you recall. And there was an arrangement that they would divide the post of chief minister. So just when Kumaraswamy had to hand over his chair to Yediyurappa, he refused. And it became like a soap opera, I don't know whether you recall, in front of Vidhan Saudha, it all became like a huge drama, because he refused to hand over. So people's, sympathy naturally went towards Yediyurappa. And effectively, so then, of course, Kumaraswamy, eventually allowed, then Yediyurappa became the chief minister for a few days, and Kumaraswamy withdrew support. Okay, but this whole thing, by doing this, the Janata Dal it managed to bring in a lot of support, sympathy for the BJP, and in 2008 the BJP came to power. So broadly, so you can see how, because of the fault of the Janata Dal or the Janata Party, whichever that was, and because of the lack of any kind of ideological commitment or any kind of true commitment to secularism, people like Gowda or Hegde, they completely gave in their, basically handed over the, support to the BJP on a platter. And today, it's just a matter of time. The Janata Dal is on its last legs. It is not going to survive. I mean, it's, and then it's going to be a two-party state. It has already become a two-party state. There's no way, I can't imagine a situation where it can be retrieved. So, which means that Karnataka, so sometimes some of the decisions taken by these parties and leaders, I think they have a long-term repercussions, and we are seeing that.
When we talk about the ideological resistance, there is another thing is going on. At least it's true in Bengal, as well as in Karnataka, in Tamil Nadu, and Telangana and Andhra Pradesh as well. That's about the Telangana nationalism or Andhra nationalism or a Kannada nationalism here in Karnataka or Bengali nationalism. Can this be a deterrent to communal politics of BJP? Because BJP proposes a nationalism which is against the federal system or at least the Union of India, the idea of India, which is against the BJP's nationalism is against the idea of India itself. But in a way, recently in Karnataka we can see that last 5-6 years, which is the Kannada nationalism is in a different way it manifests. Whether it is the fringe kind of manifestation or it's a really academic and ideological kind of manifestation, though it is very small, but the Kannada nationalism we heard of. And in Bengal it is very evident, and Tamil Nadu anyway the Dravidian politics itself. Do you feel that this Kannada nationalism or Bengali nationalism or these kind of nationalism can be a deterrent to the spread of RSS idea of India? Kasturi first. Because you do mention this in the
Yeah. So the part that I mentioned in the film and the part that you see in the film, first of all, it should not be compared to Tamil nationalism. Tamil nationalism has held its ground for a long time. It's not like a sudden phenomenon. Well, Bengali nationalism has a long history also, but that was in a different avatar. That was nothing to do with what's happening now. What's happening now is pretty recent, I would say. It was, once again, it was not something that was started by the TMC per se. The TMC is trying to balance its votes across all demographics, so it's kind of like trying to hold all the pieces together. That recent phenomenon that has started in Bengal is probably like some 3 years old. It is a response mostly to the aggression of Hindi, which is very evident and which is also growing. Like if you go to any central government institution in Bengal or anywhere, there is just Hindi, and they will do Hindi divas, and they will force people to learn Hindi, but nobody will be interested. Still, they'll keep forcing attendance, etc. That's one level. The second level is a matter of rosy roti. It's jobs. If you look at the central government, the main jobs that it generates is government jobs, is in the army and in the railways and the bank and all these sectors, right? So, and also the education sector. So, in recent times the policy shift has been towards eliminating languages other than Hindi and English. For example, there are exams where you cannot write it in Bangla, right? So, it's a matter of jobs. It's not just a matter of linguistic aggression now. And the defining character of India right now is unemployment. If that's one thing that Modi is scared of, is unemployed youth somehow, getting against him. So he keeps on giving them some sort of jumla after jumla. But the biggest problem right now, if one biggest problem is unemployment, the other is price rise, the other one is definitely unemployment. Now, I think the recent phase of Bengali nationalism that you see in the film and also on the ground is a response to that. Because people are feeling the pinch of unemployment, and the organizations which are trying to motivate people towards this, they are also focusing a lot. Like if you listen to their speeches and what they are saying, it's part of it is definitely about the Hindi imposition, the linguistic aggression, the cultural aggression of the RSS. The major part though is the snatching of jobs and livelihoods. And now what they have said is that, for example, that NEET, let me give an example, the NEET, the medical exam, So previously we used to have joint entrance medical exam in Bengal, where it was based on West Bengal board syllabus. It used to be conducted in Bangla, and everybody participated in it, and we had doctors, right, coming out of that. Now they have changed it to NEET, where the Bengali students cannot even, like, they have no chance of faring well in that exam. And they are the majority, they are the 90 to 92% of students in Bengal. Now, it is true that while Tamil Nadu has really resisted NEET, it has not been done so much in Bengal because the government is reluctant. It's trying to keep everybody happy. It also has a huge migrant population from UP and Bihar, and they want to keep them happy as well because they are also a vote bank. But if you forget about vote banks, etc., but it is definitely a killing equal opportunity. There is no doubt about it. So this realization has suddenly come to the fore, and people are organizing on these lines. There are issues over domicile policies in jobs. Many states have declared domicile policy that if you are not a domicile of the state, then the 90% of the jobs will be reserved. Bengal still hasn't gone that way, and not that I particularly favor. Like, I personally feel that if it's a country, then there shouldn't be, like, But then who am I? when it comes to unemployment and people are feeling the pinch, then the mood changes very rapidly towards these kind of compartmentalizing nationalisms. So that's one thing. And the second big thing I want to say is the delimitation exercise that's going to happen next. In 26. And I think that's going to be a complete shift. That's going to be, I think, the final blow in the coffin of the Indian Republic as we know it. They are building a new parliament, and that's the reason. The reason for that is they are going to do the delimitation, and delimitation is based on the population. And we all know that the southern states and the eastern states, they are low on population, and they are going to lose out Lok Sabha seats to delimitation exercise, and their say will go. I mean, they will not even matter anymore. Whatever they are voting is not going to matter anymore. So it's going to be reorganized. So I think people are having that apprehension a lot these days, and it's increasingly about political assertion of the states, cultural identity of the people, linguistic identity of the people, as well as unemployment, equal opportunity, losing it out to the Hindi heartland. So yeah, so this politics, if it is taken in the right direction and not in the direction of this Shiv Sena-like politics, beating up migrant workers, creating a xenophobic atmosphere to other people, like poor people, if it goes that way, then the BJP is only going to gain. But if it is channelized in a correct direction of everyone getting an equal opportunity as per their mother tongue, as per their livelihood chances, only then it can become a progressive politics.
Kannada nationalism is historically been extremely mild. You really don't see it the way, if you want a point of comparison and you look at Tamil Nadu, you have Tamil nationalism. It's also because there has been a movement since the 1930s, we had the Justice Party, and then you had a political form to it, which over a period of time it grew, and then it's become so the political ideological basis, and it's become so deeply entrenched in Tamil Nadu that it has now become part of their, it doesn't exist other than, there is in Tamil Nadu you have Tamil nationalism, which has been in power for the last so many years, from 67 onwards. But even before that, it's slowly, and then it's grown, and people have seen the benefits of this regional party, the DMK, and the many things that they have done. If you look at Tamil Nadu in its industrial growth, in terms of its development, etc., the the Tamil language has got, etc. So it's one thing. Now, if you look at Karnataka, and the other thing with Tamil Nadu is that it makes it easier because across Tamil Nadu, okay, there is only one language fundamentally. There are different dialects. There may be small variations in the local history, but fundamentally it's one language. But Karnataka is not that way. If you look at Karnataka, you have Old Mysore state, which is one where we speak one kind of Kannada. You go to Dakshin Kannada, it's a different kind of Kannada. Kannada itself is very different. You go to North Karnataka, it's mainly completely it's a Marathi, influenced by Marathi. You go towards Bellary, it's influenced by Telugu. So it's a mix. So Karnataka is probably amongst the most heterogeneous states in India. So one of the reasons, if there was a time when Rajkumar was projected as an equivalent to MGR. So MGR was seen as one of the symbols of Tamil nationalism. So you had Rajkumar trying to be also, there was an attempt to project him as a kind of a leader of Kannada nationalism. But he never succeeded, and he sensed that, and that's why he never got into politics. And that is also another reason why there has never been a Kannada party, a party for Kannadiga, on the lines of, say, DMK or the ADMK, because that the situation has been very different. Because if you look at Karnataka as we see now, it was formed only in 56. Before that, it was all in bits and pieces in parts of various other states. So to now reclaim that, reclaim Kannada nationalism, I think it's very, very difficult. And for Kannada nationalism to emerge as a resistance to, say, the BJP or the RSS, I think it's impossible, because even the BJP, RSS, they're also part of the same Kannada nationalism. It's not like they're outside it, and Kannada nationalism is something which is very diffused, it doesn't have a specific agenda, it doesn't, there is no form to it, and there is no clear vision as to what it could be. There was a party like something like Vatal Nagaraj's party, but then the Kannada Telugu leaders. But point is, he was the only person, he always was the only guy who would win, and that's the end of it. It started and ended with him, unfortunately. But, so there has been no other real serious effort to capture this spirit of Kannada nationalism and convert that into a political reality. That's the way it is.
This is about CPM's decline. Do you start the documentary with the left party, how the CPI and CPM, other left parties is in Bengal, and then bit to Bengal, which more talks about other things. So why you not tried to just in this question from my personal question, why you haven't touched that why the CPM has failed to hold its past in Bengal? I don't know, this might happen in Kerala as well, because the second leader of the Kerala of CPM might be BJP is getting stronger in Kerala as well.
See, the CPM came to power in Bengal in 1977. That was the same time when, in the entire country, for the first time, the Congress was facing, toppling of its state governments and Janata Party and everything. So CPM came to power at that point of time, and in the beginning they had a good land reform program, which was called Operation Barga. So. And it was going well for them. So they had a good base in the rural Bengal, and what Operation Barga did was it took away the land, according to the Land Ceiling Act, whatever extra land zamindars and these people were holding, it became state land. They converted it to state land and they distributed it. But there were two basic problems which remained with the unfinished Operation Barga. One was that the pattas were never really given to all the, especially the smaller farmers. It used to be kept in the, as they say, like it's well documented that they used to hold it on, the pattas were in their names, but they used to be kept in the party offices, just to keep the control. That was one part of it. The second part of it, since you brought in Kerala, what Kerala did was they had a very good cooperative movement. The cooperative movement in Kerala is very strong, but in Bengal, the land reform movement was not followed up by the cooperative movement. There really wasn't any cooperative movement in Bengal, which meant that, so after one generation of land distribution, when the farmers are having their next generation kids and the next generation, what happens is land becomes further and further fragmented. And this is a basic crisis of agriculture right now in West Bengal and also other parts of India. That what do you do with such a fragmented piece of land? If you cultivate on that land, you can do your own subsistence. But can you survive on that? So that changed the pattern of rural Bengal very much. At the same time, the farmers of Bengal have a very deep attachment to their land. They don't want to let their land go because they identify as farmers. Although many of them have become part-time rural agricultural workers and also migrant workers and part-time farmers, but they do hold their land dear. It's a cultural identity. So when the CPIM, towards its end years, like 2006 to 2011, in that period, they really wanted to, ride roughshod on that kind of farmer identity, and they basically angered their own voter base. What happened in Singur and Nandigram and later on in Lalgarh was that they would anger their own voter base, saying that we want to have an automobile factory here, so we'll forcefully take away your land, and that doesn't work in Bengal because we have a history of peasant uprisings that goes long before CPIM, right?
Yeah.
It goes even before Indian independence, Tebhaga, and all those things are there. So people don't take it very easily. Like if Mamata Banerjee tries to do the same, she'll suffer the same fate. She's already had one movement against her in her tenure, which she lost. Although she relented to it, she sort of resolved it. It was the Bhangar agitation. So in Bengal, that doesn't work, if you are forcibly taking away the land. And plus, if you are doing that wearing a red flag, what does it mean? Like, what are you trying to do? And you are trying to generate a model which will actually offer no employment to those people who are giving up their lands. It's for employment of some few ekkaduka people from the cities. So those people are not going to get anything. So they were responsible for their own decline in a way, but then after that what happened is, see, now the CPIM is doing some progressive movements against the corruption of the TMC. They are doing, they are part of the big movement, mostly that. But it has never really come up with an alternative economic policy. It has never really spelled out that what they will do. Like if they have to earn back the trust, they will have to spell out what are they going to do if they come to power. Nothing different. They are not offering any concrete economic model, right? So if that happens, then why suddenly people will go and love them and embrace them and bring them back? They need to come up with something. They are quite lost right now. The Indian left overall is quite lost right now because they don't know how to tackle this neoliberal crisis. They don't know what exactly economic policy they are going to follow. They are not coming up with a model and they are not showing it anywhere. Kerala is different because Kerala has always done like 5 years of this and 5 years of that, and they have never let anyone grow so much. They have kicked out people nicely, after every 5 years. I wish we had done that. But in our part, what people do is they give a long lease to the rulers. Like they had given a 34-year lease for these previous ones. I don't know how long they're going to tolerate this TMC. But one thing is for sure, if they agitate the farmers, it's going to be bad for them. So far, they've agitated a lot of people. Right now, as we speak, there are movements against the employment scam that's happening, teacher recruitment scam, etc. TMC has a lot of these kind of corruption, like the visible in your face economic corruption. They run by that because in India there are two kinds of parties as far as party funding goes. One is electoral bond corruption done legally and nicely, approved by the law. The other is illegal corruption, which is like, you find cash in people's suitcase and all that, like the Lalu Prasad and TMC kind of corruption. So that's easy for the BJP to sort of, they also came to power against the Congress's corruption, 2G and all that. So yeah, so this is the state right now.
When Iruve Matthu got a meeting in Calicut before he died, Kerala was the first Communist Party elected democratically in the entire world. He made a statement in a seminar in Calicut that the future of India depends on two people's philosophy, Karl Marx and Mahatma Gandhi. Can we tell our leaders today the Republic's failure or dilemma today can be removed if we can bring the two philosophies together for the future of India?
Yeah, you're right, absolutely. So, in fact, there are as many communist parties as there are alphabets in the English language. It's not just the CPM, CPI, all kinds of parties. So it's all splintered, it's all over the place. So obviously there is no opposition. And the centrist parties, don't have the, they don't have the tool, the ideological tool or the wherewithal to tackle the kind of very focused agenda of the right. So, when we are seeing what we are seeing, so I completely agree with you that without a kind of a unity of purpose amongst those who are opposed to this, opposed to the right, it's not going to work. And depending on the centrist parties, again, it's not going to work because they're very opportunistic, as we have seen. They can shift from one party to another at the drop of a hat. So, and the left, as I told you, 26, alphabets of the English language won't be enough to find out. There are that many factions, and all based on some dogmatic interpretation of reality. And but the fact of the matter is that there's absolutely no unity at all. So right now the situation, I would say, is pretty bleak. Let's face it.
To answer this, I would like to say that it's not enough to just say that all the left parties should unite. They should unite on the basis of what? What are they currently saying? So we have to look at what ideology are they currently professing. For example, right now you know that the Chinese Communist Party, within quotes, I don't consider them communist. So the Chinese Communist Party's Congress is going on, right? It's all over the papers. Now, the Communist parties in India considers China as a socialist state? Like really? Like what is happening in China? What is the condition of workers? Do people even have basic democracy? They will not even go over these questions. The curious crisis that we are in right now in India is that even Modi loves the Chinese model of authoritarianism, and even the communist parties here, they also think that, okay, this is some communism with Chinese characteristics. Like this is not just rhetorical, they are saying it as we speak. Like they are refusing to take sides in a Russian-Ukraine war. They cannot take sides, they cannot see the expansionism, they cannot see all these things. So on the basis of what will they unite? Will they just come to a hall and just declare that they are united? That won't change a thing. They have to offer some real viable economic model for the country and show it that it is possible. And the second point I want to really stress on, which we have also stressed on this film, is that the Indian Communist Party and the RSS both are going to complete 100 years of existence in 2025. Both of them were born in 1925. Why did these people succeed, and why did why are they in this kind of a shape right now? Why did the Indian communists fail to have a social left? One that would work socially, not just some electoral, left. Why is there no party? Why no party in India has an equivalent of the RSS, which will work on the ground? Even if BJP is not electorally present in a state, they will keep on their work. He was mentioning the Ayodhya movement in Karnataka. So the Baba Budangiri movement happened like that. So at that point of time, BJP had no electoral presence here. But the RSS didn't stop. They wanted to do a second Ayodhya over here. Right now, the RSS is not stopping anywhere where the BJP is not in power. They are still working. They are working hard. They are trying to influence minds. They are opening schools everywhere. Like we are filled with RSS schools. Which other ideology has done that work? Which other ideology has done that work? Has the Congress opened schools which teaches Gandhi's ideas of Gram Swaraj? Has the Congress opened a single school anywhere in India which is teaching Gandhi's Gram Swaraj, or even Nehru's ideas? Has the Communist Party opened a single school in the entire India which is taking young minds and teaching them the real crux of Karl Marx's teachings? They haven't done it. So here we are. So unless that hard work is done, the hard work of taking alternative pedagogy, the hard work of cultural modifications that the RSS is doing, it's very hard to do unless you are on the ground. They are changing every religion's iconography. It's a very hard work to do. They're going into minor religions, trying to wipe them out, trying to monolithize them. Which other party is working with religions as people see them? Which party is trying to overturn all these experiments that the RSS is doing? If there is nobody doing it, they are going to win. No amount of touch-up is going to help. There has to be ideology against the RSS. The RSS is the enemy. BJP is nothing. It's just a balloon of money. So if the other parties, or if the other, why only the other parties, if the rest of India doesn't wake up to the fact that there have to be social opposition, not just political opposition, social and cultural opposition to the BJP every day, everywhere, then we are not going to be able to sort of win this big battle. That's my feeling. Yeah.
Adding to this point, today, whoever reads the Kannada newspaper might have seen an interesting word called Daivanartaka. This is in Dakshina Kannada, mostly the coastal Karnataka has got into this kind of bhuta, which is kind of ancestral worship. For that, there is a community called Pambada. They wear that kind of costume and the dance. And so far, nobody called them Daivanartaka. Like, the divine dancers or what, how can I translate it to Kannada? So suddenly this word came up. The 2000 rupees a monthly pension kind of thing over it. So this word itself, this Daivanartaka, is the word itself kind of, monolithizing something. Which is, they are brought out from the particular ecology, the environment of that particular Pambada who wears this dress and dance for that particular bhuta. You brings out and put it in some Vedic thing that, make him a Daivanartaka. So this is how RSS works every day. It is not that, in my village, because the only Muslim family in my village in Hassan, we never saw that in this buntings of this saffron buntings. This year, it came to my village. This is how it spreads. There is no RSS Shaka there. And there is one thing which is I'm facing all these days, because we all used to make all kind of funs and jokes, not caring about the religion, but I really afraid of making that kind of thing, because I'm very fond of Yakshagana. In Yakshagana there is something called Jati Hasya. You make fun of some caste. It is completely erased in last 10 years. You make fun of Brahmins, you make fun of Shetty, this is how somehow, with this caste oppression we live. We made a peace. So because all this, and the Yakshagana, a tool which is used widely by RSS, and everybody talks in the language of Modi and the language of RSS in these kutas. Because this extempore, Yakshagana, there is no dialogues. So he'll speak whatever on the stage. And these artists are widely used. And there are artists like Samaga and Sheni Gopal Kashtapat and whoever we used to identify them, they are Nehru and Gandhi of Yakshagana. And there are no Nehrus and Gandhis in Yakshagana. And I still remember, the Sheni Gopal Kashtapat used to tell many things which Gandhi used to speak being a Dharmaraya. Or even being Ravan, he could say that. And it's very difficult to kill Rama if Sheni Gopal Krishna is Ravan. Because he used to pose all sort of those questions. And in present day Yakshagana performance, you can't pose that questions to Rama, because Rama is the Rama of BJP or RSS. This is the problem we are facing, and that kind of cultural appropriation is happening. Just adding to your point.
In Kerala, we credit to CPM for resisting BJP. But in West Bengal, CPM has migrated to BJP, right? Like many people from CPM into BJP. How is that?
Very few leaders, but a lot of the votes. Yeah. So I think that was a wrong political line taken by the CPIM in 2019, where they came up with saying that first let's they used to say Unishe Ram Chhabishe Bam, which means that let Mamata lose to the saffron, because they have the power now, we don't have the power. So in 19 let them come, and then we will remove them and we'll come in 26. Now that is bullshit, okay, like everybody knows. So they used to say that, and they used to not make a distinction between the danger of the TMC and the kind of danger of the RSS and BJP. They are qualitatively not the same. There are dangers of, none of these are, something that people should put up with, but they used to equate it totally. So when you equate it totally and you want to remove the TMC, that becomes your first agenda, what will your real supporters do? They will vote for the person who has more money, more power, more visibility. So they will shift. In the film also you saw that the person who used to dress up as Hanuman, his family, very poor Hindu refugees from Bangladesh, they used to be the CPI's base. Like people like them overnight shifted. If you look at the shift of votes, it's like almost an arithmetic calculation, the way the votes shifted. Okay, now the CPN has woken up after prodding from various quarters that okay, we have done a mistake, we've done a blunder. So now they are saying it in a different way. Okay, they're trying to revise their line, but they are probably revising their line in other states. But the Bengal CPI is it's a species of its own. It's really some real rare specimen, they refuse to learn. I don't know what happened to them. I really don't know, I cannot answer this question. I don't know the answer to this question, why they are so arrogant. They even criticize Yechuri. When Yechuri tries to, put the BJP as the prime enemy and go all out against them. Well, I understand that in the state you have to oppose the TMC's misdoings and misgovernance and all the corruption, of course. But ideologically, calling yourself a communist party, how can you not see the elephant in the room? And who are you trying to actually covertly support? So these people have lost it. I seriously don't know. I really don't know the answer to your question. I don't know. Farah is here, ask her. There are people from Bengal, we don't know what's happening with them. I want to say, because the gentleman had brought the name of Karl Marx. Yeah, Karl Marx was greatest teacher, right? There was another great teacher in the Marxist canon who was Antonio Gramsci. Antonio Gramsci told us that before establishing political hegemony, you have to first establish cultural hegemony, and you have to work towards that, which means that you have to defeat the consciousness, the capitalist consciousness in the people's mind first. So if anybody has read Antonio Gramsci and is practicing what he actually said, I think it's unfortunately the RSS and not the left, in the convoluted way. They are working on people's consciousness, they are working on their cultural hegemony, and the left is doing all this kind of real blunders. So I don't even know, seriously, I always get these questions and I cannot answer for the CPIM. I don't know what they are thinking. Especially the Bengal CPIM, which is like a real rare specimen in this whole universe. Kerala CPM is very different from Bengal CPM. Bengal CPM is a master, I don't know.
I just want to add something to Anwar. The point is, if you look at CPM, they were in power for, the left front was in power for 34 years. Like you said, no party should remain in power for that long, which you also said, because all kinds of, how do you remain in power for 34 years? It's when all the vested interests within the state, you back you. But if you look at the party itself, it also, it had such a huge level of anti-incumbency, which was suppressed. And there was also a lot of, if you look at Bengal political violence probably is the worst, or the intensity of that is probably the maximum in the country. And even during the left front, you had a lot of political violence. There used to be a lot of things that are happening at the very ground level to ensure that people voted for the left. When the Singur and Nandigram happened, it triggered a kind of a response. So you had this entire muscle power shifting to the TMC, right? So, and then and today what you're basically seeing is TMC, which is following what the left did all these years. So basically the substrata of politics, it's just shifted from A to B. and then you have the left which loses out and the TMC which gains. Because the TMC, despite the fact that they committed so many mistakes, continues to be, hold the power. So for the BJP to come to power in Bengal, all it needs is for some kind of a trigger to happen for this entire mass to shift to the BJP. There is no ideology at all in this. It's completely bereft of any ideology. Because this mass base, this lumpen, there's a massive lumpen element in Bengal, which makes this huge difference.
I just want to add one line, just to give you one example actually, not a line. So recently, Mamata Banerjee has given there's a deep sea port that's coming up off the coast of Digha. So she has got the son of Gautam Adani, and she has gifted him as if she were gifting her own property, that style. Like, I'm gifting you this deep sea port. And which are the two parties who have welcomed it? Is the Bengal CPIM and is the Bengal BJP. So they said, yeah, of course, one should give things to Adani. So where is the ideology? What is this? Like, seriously.